guys, we focus too much on all these things that are labels. Sometimes even labels consume us. And I had a funny joke just now. What if, like, China took Afghanistan? They would never do that. But the truth is that, you know, it's not. Maybe the Americans are right. Maybe China is in the wrong. Maybe, they ought to defend Taiwan, right? And that's generally the status quo. Taiwan ought to defend its democracy. But is Taiwan truly, really democratic at all? It's part of, you look at the history and you would know for certain whether it really is democratic or not. China's no better, but China's not what you think it is. It's not totalitarian, it's not really truly authoritarian, no better than the American government. I'm an Asian, but at heart, I'm also favoring the Americans because maybe in my past life I was an American or whatnot, and I get its culture. I don't even speak Mandarin that much, but what I'm saying is this. At the end, all empires will fall. China will fall to its own demise by its own populace. America maybe might sustain it until the military can no longer hold its own. And in saying that, some people will just object to it, Yes, but it's all is about supremacy, right? Sure, people might defend China and says, "Oh, China never waged wars." Soon they will. It is in every country's interest to sustain their own empires, from Rome to Assyria to all these things. Whatever the case for any argument that they say it's imperfect or whatever, it's all just human nature, It's all just our biases. People don't usually think, oh, this guy's got a light skin melatonin because he survives in some environment, so, okay, we'll see. They look at each other and they see it so differently. Today, I was looking at this redhead chick in the gym. Of course, she's got someone. What I'm saying is that it's just that sometimes your mind takes you by surprise. Oh, look at that. I talked to a person that was Japanese today, but she didn't want to speak Japanese much. But she understood what she was, but she preferred to speak English. And I might have made a bit, racist jokes on here and there. She might take it too much, but no. That's alright. It's just bucket listing, right? Even if you've been to Japan, so what? The people there, living there, do they enjoy that? No, they want to go somewhere else. They want to fucking go to America or some shit like that just to, some people that, life, they think, it's the pasture is always greener. They don't even understand that. South Africans, the South Africans are... Fuck. We all got our own issues. Our own mental, psychological issues. And we put it as a form of projection on others. About race, about all sorts of things, when in reality it's just us, deep down inside, our own fears, our insecurities, our own strengths, our own ego. It just doesn't matter that America, it's their own interests at the end of the day. Why, because the Chinese, look, they want Taiwan because it's globalism, isn't it? After years and years and thousands of years of conflict, isn't it time that China would reunite with Taiwan? People argue it's never belonged to China. No, I don't know, that we've got a whole argument with that. But it's better. Don't you think reunification or globalization is the key here? People, they argued for, yeah, I get it, Ukraine should belong to Russia, Russia should belong to Ukraine, or, you look at Yugoslavia, the breakup of it. They all wanted to have a common identity, but even humans themselves will fight over the nationalism of their identities. Even Austria doesn't want to be Germany in the future. Maybe in Afghanistan, they've got like various tribes that don't even want to be Afghani. They want to be like who knows? This division, these labels. Even us Chinese are not actually Han Chinese. We're like different tribes, different groups, and everything. But we still, and everyone complains about, oh, you look at what they did in China. They're blaming. Why don't you blame your own country mistakes instead of focusing on other people's mistakes? Or why don't you help them instead? Why didn't the Americans send somebody to kill Mao Zedong, or to oh shit, this guy's gonna put this country into ruins. We can't sit and watch. We gotta change. In the movie The Last Emperor, why did that British envoy allowed Puyi to, just go? Was he in charge of it? Was he just, oh, here we go, Machiavellianism? Why did That's the thing. Everyone's looking up for their interests, and the race and everything is just an excuse to say. Even the Germans, even in Nazi Germany, they were pretending that the Germans were. They were trying to consolidate. They were trying to make people believe that race was truly what holds us together, when in reality, even the Germans themselves in Nazi Germany would disagree with one another. Believe it or not, they would. In the end, as humanity, I don't really, I don't think we can be. I think it's alright. I think race is what we should focus on. I think it's what we should focus on, but we shouldn't focus too much on it. In the end, people are people. I mean, your haplogroups or whatever. We are human beings who various races are defined to be designated to be survivable in their own environments. It's not about race. It's not about even. Yeah, sure, it's about the dignity and the morality you treat another human being, but it's not really about that. It's about how secure as a person are you to use something to be secure. Are you secure in being with your tribe? Are you secure in being with your race? Are you patriotic? Are you secure? When you're too fervent, when possibly that you've achieved your security, when that changes, and you are now too fervent and too nationalistic and too zealous about your identity, that is where you are going into the deep end. They can fucking be white supremacists, I don't care. Don't fucking say that, oh, we can't be Asian supremacists either. Everyone gets a fair chance, but look at what happens for the aftermath of it. I don't care about your race. You know what actually people care about? Your size and your athletic ability to adapt to the environment that you are in now. But nobody wants to calculate that in their mind. They prefer to blame it on politicians, race, and everything else instead of. Not that they should take their own responsibility as human beings, are a mimetic form of self-externalizing to self-internalizing biorobotic, programmable, hackable computers. Our brains are limited. I don't even get why Hitler wanted to kill the Jews, because honestly, the Jews are not even a race. They're just. I mean, looking at all sorts, I think people just wanted to blame somebody. Now they're blaming the government. Now they're blaming everybody. Oh, they're blaming this and blaming that. I still appreciate, this guy should have told him, yeah, I know that it's insult, but what you guys have is a good thing, because guns are important in our lives. Maybe if there was another tool to make us feel more powerful, instead of this kind of lethal stuff, then we'd be much better off, right? And people, he would probably think, this guy's making a racist joke. Not really. I think deep and thoroughly about the issue. It's a sociological issue. It's not a fucking racial issue. Everybody's got their own problems. The British also. Why do you think now the government's so goddamn hell bent on keeping guns out of the nation? Because it got goddamn Guy Fawkes back then. They had the more the irony in life of these governments, that the more you attempt to achieve to ban something, to prevent something, to repress something, to suppress something, it swings the other direction. Look at what happened in Germany. Look at what happened to Japan. They're probably going to swing back to the militaristic style again because they're so forced. They're going to use China as an excuse to beef it up. In truth, they're just fucking US's lapdogs, no offense. Stockholm Syndrome. But they'll probably, I'm getting angry, but it's true, isn't it? Even China themselves have Stockholm Syndrome towards their own government, their own populace towards, I don't know, Russia. And the irony is that they also scared of the US. They're like, but they want to achieve that goal to be like, hey man, we're sick and tired of this. It's the underdog and it's the top dog. That's the truth about life. It's just those who are weak and those who are strong. But then people argue. I'm not a Christian myself, but I do like some of the verses that the Bible say. Like Ecclesiastes. The race does not belong to the swift nor to the strong, but time and place has its judges all things on how, I'm paraphrasing, deemed to be suitable. The strongest man might not be strong. The strongest man might die of suicide. That's what I hear from my friend. But the one who endears to be married, to just do God's will forever, that I don't know, it's just scientifically, to just be spiritually inclined, to be strong for oneself and to promote that purpose within one's life, to share it with others and to others to share it with oneself, to emulate the betterment of life, You have to understand, people want to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy. But in the end, sometimes happiness makes us rage and die, and the worst things that when we don't have happiness, we ironically swing to the other direction to get happiness. Such as the conundrum, the cognitive dissonant aspects of life, and people just think, hey, the criminal's just a criminal, pedophile's evil, and pedophile's is evil because he's born evil, that shit, but without realizing why he's that, without realizing why men do this, why women do this, why men are, women support this kind of regime. They talk about feminism, but they themselves date chads and everything, and it's just what it is, I suppose. I don't know what to say anymore about politics. I just think that if we as humanity keep on thinking that it's about this issue and we agree with the status quo, we will never be free of this. Back then, they some of us complained, but also accepted against Julian Assange, against what's the other whistleblowers guys? Edward Snowden, and then, but now everybody's just so angry. Everybody's just so goddamn angry. Because they think that in life, if we had security, but then, I don't know, I mean, yeah, sure, Benjamin Franklin is flawed, but he still was, in some point, right. It is better those who give up temporary safety for their liberty, those who give up their liberty for temporary safety neither deserve to have safety nor liberty. But in a sense that maybe if there was a solution to this, maybe there was a solution to this, we could all be friends. But you know what? Maybe in the end, it really does matter about race. Some movies like Valerian, Avatar, all sorts of stuff, propose that advanced intelligent societies and civilizations must develop into a homogenic, look-alike creatures, that they would not fight each other over race. Maybe in the end, dichotomy is strangely the evolutionary progress of human civilization. Maybe all ought to look like fucking the whites or the Asians or the Indians, but even then again, the Middle Easterns and the Africans are fighting amongst themselves, depending on, it doesn't matter about skin color, what tribe it is and all that. We'd still find a way to be racist at the end of the day, which is saddening and infuriating and depressing and disheartening and all sorts of, my tears would flood oceans, like, B.J. Blazkowicz would say. I wonder if there was a point in time in life where we'd stop blaming other people for how they look, what all sorts of shit that they are just because of their skin color, and look deep within themselves and figure out all you want to do is just be a good human being, like the people you want to be, to emulate. Or do I want to be a white person? Well, depending if I was a fit person. When I look at some of these young white guys and people bully them just because of their looks, their physical stature, and all sorts of stuff, and people might still, be as much of a coward as they are to say, no, I still want to be white, no matter what. White people have got the power. Even if that's true, it doesn't mean you're any more or less civilized. It just means don't blame the British. Don't blame it is what they is. It is what it is, It's not about, the Chinese spit in the floor, they're disgusting, they're the best bitters. You're just using excuses to fundamentally not understand that you yourself are deep inside just using this because, our race is also quite, we mock each other, we do this, and, look at our own flaws instead of looking at others. And if we do look at other people's faults, then we ought to point it out, and we ought to set an example, and we ought to help also them to emulate what's better. It's all about civilization, man. Everybody goes through the same thing. Empires, countries. I don't mind even if China breaks up, like, the European Union. I mean, look at the European Union. They're the goddamn masters, man. They could have an EU, and even Britain, it's Britain's loss, Brexit. But still, now, you look at what they have in all commonalities. They're all afraid of Russia. They needed a boogeyman. But they themselves have gone through years and years of warfare, and they it's honestly fucking so incredible that they've managed to separate themselves and not constantly fight each other and respect each other's borders. For China, the difference is that they're a huge land mass that everyone wants to be united, even though it may not be possible, and it may not be doable, it may not be good in the end if that's the case. Maybe nothing's perfect. Maybe if even you give China what it wants to, take Taiwan, I don't know how it will go. But at the end of the day, I mean, History is history. The present will be history, and people will change, and civilizations will change, and the human body will. And maybe in the end, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the end. Maybe it's God, maybe it's science. It's just existentially, I just think that we have to accept our crisis. We have to accept that we will be. I don't know, we survive. Maybe it just doesn't matter in the end because isn't it a good thing that we all die? That we science says we will not be freed from our bodies, and that's all there is to it, and nothingness will be. Nah, there's so many. Maybe, but I've seen otherwise personally myself. And the key is to understand what isn't better for us than to be free from our physical bodies. To understand that every one of us who see in each other, even we see each other. If we were souls right now, either you were, I would judge you, not judge, we would see each other if we were souls of kindness or evil or whatever, or brokenness or whatever it is, or just manipulators or whatever. And we would judge that accordingly. And children know this the best they can do. We ought to help the people who are the most broken. But the question is whether a man will say, if you give a man an inch, he'll ask for a mile. Sometimes it's not like that. Maybe he just needs to understand himself a bit more. Yeah. And you need to give him that capability to understand himself more. Without friends, I would have not known, without talking to the guy in the swimming pool, I would have not known the simplest truth about the skills to swimming and all that. I am. Yeah, I mean, we're all on a journey in swimming, right? Nobody's better, nobody's good. Even some of the most elite swimmers in the world can have screw ups sometimes. It's not always at the end of the day about. Sometimes, I remember this in New Zealand, Auckland. I'm there, there's this case where two swimmers, I don't know whether it was shallow or it was deep. I can't remember. But two of them were trying to swim together, right? And you know what happened? They had a shallow blackout and they died. The news said that they were professional swimmers. Or I'm just misinterpreting it. I'm adding my own damn conclusions to it. But it is what it is, isn't it? It is. It is what it is. Sometimes the strong will stumble and fall, and we shouldn't laugh at it. But the weak stumble and fall, and we laugh at it. That's just disrespectful. That is eugenics, isn't it? But we should help the weak to be strong. And the strong shall be strong as straw. Maybe if life has to be a dichotomy, then I fear that maybe in the end, if I am a weak person, or we're all weak in some way, then the wheat detaching from the chaff and all that kind of stuff, then the weak will, I don't know, it's not a good thing. Sometimes there'll always be weakness. Do not mistake strength for weakness, and weakness will never correlate with strength, but develop the weakness into strength. But this is life. Fair or unfair, at the end of the day, it's just about what humanity brings its forth, its personal best to, Maybe it's better that, maybe they're right. But if that's the case, then I fear for what's going to happen to all of us, and we all fear. Like Fury, we all harden ourselves until oblivion.